I'm Ethan Koehn,
I'm Andrew Ryan.
and today we'll be doing a brief overview of round one of the NBA playoffs, and then we'll give our predictions for the rest of the season. So, for the Western Conference, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, we saw the Thunder just dispatched of the Suns pretty quickly. Obviously, there was a Jalen Williams injury, so that hamstring could be an issue coming into the next rounds, but that was a pretty quick series. You saw the Timberwolves went ahead and got the Nuggets in a 6-3 upset. No Anthony Edwards. Dante DiVincenzo tore his Achilles. So that was not a great look for the Nuggets with Nikola Jokic, who he played well, but as a team they struggled, couldn't get any stops. Jaden McDaniels called out the entire team, saying that none of them could play defense, and then had a career high 32 points in a closeout game in Game 6. So that was actually one of the most interesting series in the Western Conference. Your 2 seed, you had the Spurs taking on the Trailblazers. That one was pretty quick. There was a little injury scare there with Wembenyama, but other than the concussion thing, it really wasn't a big deal. It was a pretty quick series. The Trailblazers had some fight. You got to give them. They had heart, but you saw the Spurs younger guys really step up and kind of take care of business. They definitely grew a lot throughout this series. It made me much more confident in what they're going to be capable of, just even in these playoffs where they're such a young team. And then, in my opinion, the best series was the Lakers versus the Rockets. You saw the Lakers, who were out Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, and Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart really stepped up in the place of those two. And then LeBron James just did LeBron James things. I mean, he carried the offense. He was just the smartest player on the court, but he was also like the most talented. Kevin Durant was out with a bone bruise and then a left ankle sprain. You could say whatever you want about that. You know, he might have been not wanting to play because he didn't want to lose. But I know there's a lot of skepticism about it. But at the end of the day, the Lakers showed up, and after they took that 3-0 lead, they kind of rested a couple of games, and you could tell they weren't playing as hard. But Game 6 in Houston, they closed it out. LeBron played really well. He really carried the offense.
Now to go over the Eastern Conference, Detroit and the Magic played Game 1. It was a really interesting series, went deep in the series, especially for an 8 seed against a 1 seed. Overall, Detroit won the series, is one of the wildest of the year. The Pistons were down most of the series, just going 3-1 to the Magic, and then they came back and won 3 games in a row and won the series. Then the next series, the Boston Celtics and the 76ers. This is probably the best series we've seen in a while. You know, the 76ers won the series 4-3, and it was a massive upset. You know, the Celtics being without Jason Tatum in one of the games was huge, and, you know, Philly just looks really dangerous if they're healthy. Then the New York Knicks against Atlanta Hawks. This was a really tense series. A lot of, you know, bumps and bruises from a lot of the players, but the Knicks won the series 4-2. Then the Cavaliers versus the Raptors. This was the 4 versus the 5. The Cavaliers advanced, and then there were many takeaways, especially coming from like a player like LeBron James who wanted the Raptors to win, but overall, Cleveland got the best of them.
Now for the second round series, in the East we have the Detroit Pistons versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a 1 versus 4. I think the Pistons will win. It seemed like they really found something against Orlando there. Cade Cunningham is a great player, and then James Harden and Donovan Mitchell just didn't really look like themselves, and we know James Harden always flops in the playoffs. So
Yeah, I think the Pistons are going to win as well. I think they're just super young, they're super versatile, and I think they'll beat Cleveland.
the second series there, you have the New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. I think the Philadelphia 76ers are going to get the Knicks. I know a lot of people think this is the year the Knicks are supposed to go to the finals. It's an easier road. Celtics are out of the way. But I think Joel Embiid is really, really talented, and no one can guard him on that team. And I think Tyrese Maxey is just as talented of a scorer as Jalen Brunson is. So I really don't think there's an edge there for the Knicks at all.
I personally think the 76ers are pretty hot, but I think the Knicks are going to win. I think Embiid being banged up from the last series is going to affect them. And I think Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are just going to carry the Knicks to win this series.
So for the Eastern side of the bracket, according to my picks, we'd have the Detroit Pistons playing the Philadelphia 76ers. And I could see that one going 6, maybe even 7. But with the way that Jalen Duren has played so far in the playoffs, he's really struggled. And I just think the 76ers are hot. I like the young talent. Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe are really good guards. You've got Paul George, who's an experienced player. And then if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, if is the biggest thing right there, if he can stay healthy, I think they're going to the finals this year. I think this is the year they get it done.
So based on my picks, I have the Pistons and the Knicks. I really don't think the Knicks have it this year, but the Pistons are really young, so I do think the Knicks are going to win. I think Brunson is going to have to carry the load, and he's going to have to carry this team to the NBA Finals.
For the Western Conference, we have Oklahoma City Thunder, which is the 1 against the 4, which is the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'll just preface this as I am a Lakers fan, so I think the Lakers can win this series if Luka Doncic comes back. Austin Reeves and LeBron have played really well, and we've had a lot of guys step up already against the Rockets. Jalen Williams is obviously hurt. You never know what can happen. Somebody gets hurt for the Thunder. Luka comes back and plays really well. I think we we deserve more of a chance than some people are giving us. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Lakers.
Yeah, personally, I'm going to be opposite. I think the Thunder are going to sweep. I think the Thunder are just way too good, just way taller, way more physical than the Lakers, in my opinion. But I think the Lakers have a standing chance in a way. I think they're going to keep the games close.
LeBron James. And for the 2-6 matchup in the West, we have the San Antonio Spurs against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That starts tonight. And I did see that Anthony Edwards might be returning a lot earlier than expected from that knee injury. It looks like he's questionable for tonight's game. That being said, the San Antonio Spurs are probably unstoppable. Better guards when they're healthy. Anthony Edwards probably will struggle just because of health. Obviously, Dante DiVincenzo's injured. Rudy Gobert cannot guard Victor Wembanyama. So I think the Spurs probably get him in 5, maybe 6 if Anthony Edwards has a great game and wins one for the Timberwolves by himself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Spurs are going to take that series. I don't think there's any chance the Timberwolves can win. We've seen a lot of players step up for the Timberwolves these previous games, but I just don't see the Timberwolves being able to stick around with the Spurs.
And then for our Western Conference Finals matchup, I have the Lakers against the Spurs. And again, I'm a LeBron fan, so the Lakers are going to upset the San Antonio Spurs as well. I think we have the ability to cause issues for their young guards, and they're more inexperienced than LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers.
I think the Thunder and Spurs it's a very interesting series just with a lot of young players and a lot of young talent. I think the Thunder are going to win. I think they're going to be going to the NBA Finals. And overall, I think them matching up with the Knicks in the finals, I think the Thunder are going to take that.
So I think that the 76ers versus the Lakers will be a really interesting finals. Obviously, you have a 7 and a 4 seed, which that's just not common. By this point, Luka Doncic would be back and fully healthy, and I think he's too much for the 76ers. So LeBron gets his 5th ring, Luka gets his 1st ring, and the Lakers get it done.
Lakers in 5.